We can show you the world, or at least tell you about our travel stories.
We are in a place in our lives where we can travel regularly. Join our chat about striving for adventure. Hi, Chanel.
Hi, Syndi.
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
We're face to face.
Lights, camera, action.
Season 2!
Season 2.
Can you believe we made it?
I really can't believe we made it. So much editing.
So much editing, so much talking, so much re-talking. You made a whole theme song.
I made a whole theme song.
You made a whole theme song. And I don't know if people actually listen to the end, but we also have a little ending clip.
Yep. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thanks to your mom, which is really funny. But I meant more so I'm surprised that we're doing season 2 because I actually didn't think we'd make it this far.
I didn't either. And I've had a podcast before.
Oh my, we're not going to start season 2 the same way we started season.
Chatting with Chatty. And that
You're
podcast,
actually ridiculous.
That podcast only had one season.
That podcast only had one season.
Season.
And the thing that's crazy is you had episodes.
Yeah, I had more episodes.
But, you know.
It just didn't come to fruition.
Yeah,
your episode never got posted.
No, it didn't.
Nope.
And I don't even know if back then, I think back then I had mentioned to you that I wanted to have my own podcast. Yeah. And we had said at that point that, oh, we'll do this episode and maybe by the time this episode comes out, you'll have your own podcast. So we can say, you can listen to Syndi or you can find Syndi on her podcast. Yeah. Whatever. And that dream died. And then your podcast died. And then here we are.
Back again.
And it's actually so crazy because I remember telling you that I did not think it was necessary to put investment into this podcast unless we actually were able to make it.
Yep.
And so now that we're at season 2, we literally full sent it. We have a recording, we have lights, we have microphones, and
a schedule.
We have a schedule.
We're ready. This is our 5 to 9.
It is our 5 to 9 after our 9 to 5. And I actually prefer this more than my 9 to 5.
I mean.
Yeah. But let's just discuss a little bit. Why did we decide to go video format? Because especially, I mean, I guess I could talk about it because I'm the one who was more reserved about being online. But I want to hear your thoughts. Why did you want to record ourselves doing this podcast?
Yeah, I just think from the podcasting perspective, people like video.
That's true.
They like to see people talking. And so I think that adds a growth potential to our podcast. Yeah. And then also additionally, I think it helps us show our personality a little bit more. Like we've really been talking.
Yeah, we talk with our whole bodies.
Yes, exactly. So to kind of showcase that. And yeah, just kind of put faces to the name. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
For me, I'm just thinking it more from the content perspective. Like you said, with the videos, people are more inclined to watch videos. And we had clips, and our clips are funny. Yeah. But I think when it came to finding an image to post, it just was too repetitive. Yep. Where it's like, I felt as though our social media had nothing engaging about it. And I couldn't figure out what to do with it. And I feel like the easiest way to do that is to record us because we're never going to look the same. Like each frame is always going to look different because no matter how we talk, it's going to be different. So the hope is that we're able to stay on our schedule. Yes. And that this actually helps promote more so what we want to get from this podcast. Exactly. I don't even know what it is. It's just something.
It's our hobby.
It's our hobby.
And you want to be successful in your hobby.
And
Syndi has a hobby.
I do have a hobby.
The conclusion.
Isn't that crazy? After a whole season, I have a hobby.
Season, you have a hobby.
But it's just the podcast.
It's the podcast, period.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. But the podcast.
That's good enough.
Through the podcast, I've editing. And then hopefully now I'll be able to do, or audio editing. I'll hope to do video editing. And then after that, content creation. So it's been fun. Yep. I've been having a really good time. I didn't think I'd have this much of a good time. And it's crazy. The people that we know who have listened to the podcast, the amount of people who've come back and be like, wow, you and Chanel have podcast voice.
Thank you.
I know.
It's what we do. We're podcasters.
I mean, it's not like we're doing anything special.
We're not.
It just must be the way that we speak.
Yeah. That's just the energy, the vibe.
And we bounce off each other so well.
We do a lot of talking.
We do a lot of talking.
We have podcasts without being recording it.
Well, that's
just
the
natural.
reason why we started this podcast. Yeah. Because we would be having conversations for hours.
Literally hours
on hours on hours. And we just be like, we should record this because it's information that you've said like, oh, I've had this conversation before with so many other people.
Yeah.
And same with me, where I'd be having conversations with you where I'm just like, yeah, I couldn't articulate this earlier when I talked about this with someone, but now I can. And I wish there was a way that I could recreate this 2-hour conversation that we had to send to someone.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah.
But now I can.
Now you can.
With a podcast.
So yeah, I'm hoping this season, I feel like we've been a lot more creative with the topics. Mm-hmm. We have stuff planned.
Yeah.
Lights, camera, action, baby.
Yeah.
And so I think the main thing we just need to work on, besides all the changes we made, is actually posting on social media and keeping up with that crap as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
And building engagement.
Yeah, building engagement. So we're really working on it. You and me.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this season. I think we have a lot of good episodes. Like, season 1, we had great episodes. Yeah. But when we were sitting down to plan season 2,
we were excited.
We actually had season 2 planned even before season 1 was done. And I remember being like, I am so excited to get into season 2.
Yep.
Like, I even said, let's just not finish season 1.
Yeah, just skip it.
Let's just skip it. We don't need season 1. We just need season 2. So this season, I think the episodes are going to be better. The topics are going to go more in depth. And then from there, we'll just see what season 3 could look like, season 4.
And let me just say, season 3 is already planned.
We're crazy.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Crazy. But it's good. I feel as though if we have episodes, that means we still have the momentum. We still have the, like, vigor to want to do this. Yeah. And that's what's going to keep bringing good content. Yeah. The fact that we keep wanting to do it.
And it's really exciting because I don't think we've had a moment where we're like, I don't know if this is for us. We've just kind of.
It's only when it comes to editing.
Just editing. Oh my God. Please.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But when it comes to recording the episodes, when it comes to you like creating the music, even sometimes with the editing, there are periods in which I'm having a good time. Yeah. But with just a little BTS, the amount of times that I've edited a singular episode at a time, I think it was at season 1, episode 4, was it? Money is everything? I edited that 3 times.
Yeah. That's because we're learning. Each time we do it, we start learning more stuff. And I'm like, Syndi, use this. Yeah. And we start getting better, but it's just going to take time.
Yeah. I'm also very anal when it comes to it.
You see, I want to be, but I procrastinate. So I'm like, this has to be up.
But even still, even if I procrastinate, I've learned that like there's a particular way that I want it. If I'm going to make a cut, I want the cut to be as seamless as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And even with that episode, with the season 1, episode 4, I asked you to figure out how many times it was cut, and you were nowhere close.
I had no idea.
Because that's what I do. I will sit there.
I feel like between the editing, you're better at like sitting there and drilling it. I'm better at here's the whole thing. Let's go. Yeah. If you need that edited in an hour, I got you. Yeah. And it will be good enough.
See, for me, I can get it to you in an hour, but I won't be happy with it. Yeah. I will not want to give it to you. It's like, it's done, but I'm not happy with it. Yeah. Because if I hear a bzz, 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 like the swishing sound, I will sit there until you don't hear it anymore. And I will nitpick it.
I can't. Yeah. Once I've posted it, I'm just like, it's the day. I post it. It's done.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that with this, it'll be better with the microphones. The sound audio is going to be better. And we're going to also try to do better with sticking to our agenda and not going on tangents, because we love a good tangent.
We love a tangent. And now that we're on camera, we can't be slicing and dicing no more. We got to give you the pizza pie.
There'll still be a little slices, just a little here and there.
If you see a cut, don't say anything.
If you hear a little beep because we said something we weren't supposed to, you didn't.
Don't say anything, girl. Yeah. Just keep it rolling.
Yeah. But I have high hopes for this season. I'm excited for us recording on video, and I don't know. We'll see where it takes us.
To into it.
I know. So what is on the docket today?
Travel.
Yes. Ooh, I wonder if people are going to notice what our little tagline is for this season, because, you know, for season 1, it was like something is everything, or something are everything. Yep. And they're going to only be able to see episode 1. So I feel like people should try to guess what the tagline is going to be.
Can you guess it? Can you guess it?
They probably won't be able to guess it till like episode 3.
We'll give you a like if you guess it.
Not a like. But yeah, today we're doing Feeling Adventurous. We're going to be talking about travel. Mm-hmm. So let's start with, I feel like we're both travel fanatics, personally. So
in theory.
Oh, okay.
That's because there's people out here who really travel like that.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't be everywhere.
Okay, so let's not say travel fanatics, but we have the travel bug.
Yeah.
Where do you think your travel bug originated from?
So I think, it's kind of hard because in America, I feel like we don't really travel a lot.
Yeah.
Especially internationally.
Yeah.
Because America's big. Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're going to go somewhere, it's going to be across country, and that's already freaking expensive.
And there's also many ways to do it. Like you can take a plane, you can take a train, or road trip. There's so many different ways that you can traverse through the United States, and every single state has its own specific
vibe. Yeah, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like the travel bug, I've always been interested into seeing different places and seeing different environments because I've pretty much lived in the same place my whole life.
Yeah.
And then especially like with school, because we've both been in school for a very, very, very long time.
Too long.
There was always summer break and, or like spring break, and people would go to places. I'm like, how do y'all do that? I'm tired. How do you have the money? How do you have the energy?
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm broke. And I'm depressed.
There.
Thank you.
Sorrows, prayers.
Sorrows and prayers only. But now that we're out of school, we have money from working. It's like, okay.
Paid vacation.
Exactly. It's like now I want to start going to some places.
Yeah.
Period.
I would have to agree with you with the travel bug. I think I've always had a want to be immersed in cultures different than the one that I grew up in. And I think that kind of stems from the fact that my parents are Nigerian immigrants. So even growing up, I was always just experiencing like American culture was a culture different than a culture that I knew. Yeah. So that's just my life. But being able to have that like difference between Nigeria and America, that's what's made me want to see more cultures, because they're just like, they're so vastly different, but at the same time, they can easily coexist. So I want to see like what other cultures can I, go and see, be immersed in, and how are they similar or different than the ones that I'm aware of. So I've always had that, that concept and that idea. And then on top of that, I'm a foodie personally. I love eating different types of food, and, going to a restaurant, you get a glimpse into what that is, but there's certain ingredients that you don't necessarily have access to that you have to substitute, or, they're shipped and they're not as fresh. And I always want to be able to sit down at a table and eat something that's homemade by someone at their home. Authentic. That's the word. And that's another reason why I have like that travel bug. Like I want to be outside. But I agree with you. It is hard. And it has been hard in the past to go on trips. Most of my travels have been within the United States. I think I've only been outside of the country a couple of times. And then, like you, I've been in school most of my life. And for spring break, summer vacations, I'm typically working.
Yeah.
I'm working. It's not like I really have that time to go places. So I haven't really traveled. I think the most that I did, when I was in college was driving to Vegas, which was 4 hours away from school, but quick turnaround. And I think sometimes we drive to San Diego, but not that much.
Yeah. So let me ask you, so for traveling in general, what kind of vibe are you on?
What type of vibe?
Yeah, what's the vibe?
What type of vibe?
You know what I mean?
So I think I personally think Syndi in general, and you can agree to disagree, is a little mix of type A and type B, just in general. And I think that kind of goes into how I travel, right? I'm on vacation, so I'm not going to follow a strict schedule. I'm not going to come to you and have an itinerary. I personally don't like itineraries in general. They give me anxiety because it makes me feel as though it's a set time, and if you miss that time, your entire trip is off, which is bad. This is the reason why I don't necessarily like hard agendas and hard planning, because I don't like falling off of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bring that energy into my vacation. That's work Syndi. This is supposed to be vacation Syndi. But at the same time, and I'm talking about if I'm going someplace that I can't go often. It's not like me right now driving through like Northern California, you know, where everything's within an hour of whatnot. I'm talking about places that it's like a 6-hour flight. I'm going to come with maybe 3 to 4 things. If I'm going to be in a place for like a week to a week and a half, I'm going to have 2 to 3, 3 to 4 things, depending on how long I'm there. And those are things that I have to do. Like I want to see because I will never be able to see them again. And I'll go through the motions of like, okay, maybe it's some museum or maybe it's some show. I need to book a ticket because I don't want to get there and they're sold out. So I'll book that ticket. That'll be a set time. But then everything else around it, I'm going and immersing myself because I like to be a local. I don't want to fall into the tourist traps. I don't want to be a super, super tourist. I want to be a local. And so that's what I would try to do. I'm going to want to try to find places that are quote unquote hole in the wall that only someone who's lived there most of their life, if not their entire life, has been to. And I want to just ease my way in. And that's how I like to travel. I like to go with the flow, but at the same time have things here and there that are tourist trappy, that are for tourists, because when is the next time I'm going to be in this area? Who knows? Yep. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty similar. And you mentioned the planning thing. So like for me, I've never been someone who can create like, you know how people would do like time blocking?
Yeah.
I could never do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. I could put a whole thing, plan out my entire day. I won't follow it.
Yeah.
It's like my brain will purposely not follow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just too much. Mm-hmm. And I have like a planner. Mm-hmm. My $60 Hobonichi planner.
And have you been using that?
I've actually been using it.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Right.
I don't know if I'll repurchase.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see. But in that planner, they have like a little scheduling thing for each day. And so for things where I have like specific things that I need, I'll write those down.
Okay.
But everything else, I'll just put like a marking, like sometime in this region, I'll go to the gym.
Yeah.
Sometime in there. I don't know. So I'm more like that.
Yeah.
And so I've never been a person that's like very strict with their schedule. So that's the same thing with traveling around.
Yeah.
I just like to go with the flow. Like you said, there's certain things that I'm like, okay, this has to happen at this time or it's not happening.
Yeah.
And just have like general, like, okay, here's the list of places that I want to go to. Here's the list of food that I want to eat. Those kinds of things. Because I'm a foodie too, as you know.
Yeah.
I gotta eat.
Yeah.
And so I do kind of the same thing that you do. I like an itinerary. I can't make an itinerary.
Right.
If somebody else makes an itinerary, cool. We're not going to follow it to the T.
No.
But I like it.
Yeah.
Give it to me. But we're not going to follow it.
Right. I mean, it's always good to have those suggestions of knowing what you can accomplish in the day. And then at the same time, having that communication of what is pertinent and what's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes my biggest fear, because I've done it before, is that I get to a place that I'm probably not going to be for a long time and I spend my entire day in bed because I don't have a plan.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, I'm tired. And it's like, well, since I have nowhere to be, I can sleep until 9 and 9 becomes 10, 10 becomes 11. And then lo and behold, it's 2 p.m. and I've wasted away most of a day in a location that I can't get to easily. Yep. So I agree. Itineraries are nice. Hopefully the third person in our group likes to make itineraries because it doesn't seem like either one of us.
I don't think she does. And my mom definitely doesn't.
So we'll figure it out. I feel like if it's a group effort, we'll figure it out. Yeah. But for the time being,
we'll do stuff.
We'll do stuff
for sure.
Yeah.
We're just not going to have a strict schedule.
Yeah. I mean, but speaking about those, I mean, obviously we're aligned. We're very much aligned in how we want to travel, which is not surprising because we have taken a couple trips together so far.
Quite a few.
Let's kind of quickly go through them.
Yeah.
The first time we ever traveled together was May of 2023 when you helped me find my place to live.
Yes.
Which was incredibly unhinged. Because just to give context, the reason why it was so unhinged was because we were friends, right? But the way in which we were friends was just kind of like, we got close right before the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We both met in grad school. I had been there for, I think that was my 4th year. You were in your 2nd year. Mm-hmm. And at the time I met you, you were like, I'm over it.
I'm leaving.
I'm over it. Right? And so it was just like, you kind of radicalized me because you were kind of saying the things that I was thinking in my head out loud and validated the fact that I wasn't crazy, where everybody else was making me feel like I was crazy. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I like this one. And then also we bonded because we both like to cook.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started.
We were whipping it up in your kitchen.
You were whipping it up.
I made pizza from scratch.
You made pizza from scratch.
I might have set off the alarm a couple times, but that was worth it.
Yeah.
Because that pizza was delicious.
You made pizza from scratch. You made
chicken katsu.
Did you end up making sushi?
I think I did.
Yeah. Sushi from scratch.
And I think that was coping.
You were coping. You were coping through cooking and I was coping through eating. We bonded through the trauma.
Yes.
Right? And like that's kind of how our relationship started, was through trauma, but kind of that's how everybody in grad school was bonding. So when you left, I think it was a shock to the both of us that we were able to maintain the relationship.
Yeah.
Because we found out that there was things that we liked outside of grad school.
Yep.
I even think we had a conversation. It was me, you, our friend Kyra, and then our friend Eva. We were all sitting together and we were talking. And I think you and I were like, we're same. Like we're same. And it was like a lot of things where there was different questions that were asked that we answered the same, and we look at each other like, oh. And I think
sister
that
from another mister.
I think that set the stage. And so even though we kind of were apart, we kept in contact. Our first time we had a lengthy call was at the series finale of Insecure.
Oh, God.
Which is a whole nother conversation. And then from there, we moved to Euphoria, where every single Sunday we'd watch Euphoria together and talk. And then when Euphoria finished, we started looking for episodes where we can continue doing that because it was fun.
Yeah.
Because I think that was also the beginning of the podcast because we were just unhinged talking about all these shows. So then we did first episode, last episode. So in the midst of all of this, right? Now it's getting to the end of my PhD. I'm getting ready to graduate. I have a job and I'm like, Chanel, my job is in California. Mm-hmm. And I'm explaining to you all the things that I'm seeing online with apartments. And you're like, oh, don't fall for that. That's a trap that they do for people who are not from California. Yep. And I was like, Chanel, I don't know what to do because I'm going to be going to look at these places by myself. I can't fake being from a state that I've never been. Yeah. And you're like, well, then I'll come. Mm-hmm. And I said, what? And you were like, I'll come. I was like, because I mean, thankfully the company that I currently work for, they paid for relocation. So it's just like, as long as I could get a room, a car, like we could split all of that. Yeah. Just as long as I could do all of that, you were willing to come. And then we just split meals as we saw fit. Yep. Right. And so you were just like, yeah, it's practically a free trip for me. I don't mind paying for the flight up. And then you were like, to celebrate you graduating, we can go to like Disneyland and Universal Studios. Mm-hmm. And so that's how the first trip happened. Yeah. Completely out of pocket, completely unhinged, but it went off without a hitch. Like we had no issues traveling
that
together.
Was like 2 weeks?
It was, we spent 2 weeks together. Yeah.
2 weeks together.
That's so crazy.
That's a long time.
I didn't even think about that.
And we were sleeping like basically in the same bed for the first week. Mm-hmm. And then the second week you were at my family home. Yeah. The whole 9.
Saying that out loud, I'm sorry, I'm so shocked because saying that out loud is just we're crazy
friends.
But it worked out.
It did.
And I think that set the precedent for future trips because I think after that you introduced me to like people that I now consider really close friends of mine as well, and that's kind of what started future trips, where afterwards we went to Big Bear. Yep. Which
that's a story for another time.
It is, but it wasn't because of us.
It was not because of us. The main summary of that trip is don't bring your boyfriend to a girls trip. I think that's a succinct summary.
That's a succinct summary.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. And I didn't bring no boyfriend.
I didn't bring no boyfriend. But somebody brought a boyfriend.
Somebody did. But anyway, so that trip, that wasn't us though. We did have periods in which we were like together without the person who brought the boyfriend, and we had a great time. Yep. But after that one, because there's also been like a couple of trips. You've come to visit a couple of times.
Of course.
And those have been fine.
And you come down.
Yeah. The next trip that we went to that wasn't in California was we went to Vegas. We went to Vegas earlier this year. It was a good time.
That was fun.
I have stories from that trip.
You really do.
I have stories from that trip. But all I can say is, one, I need a budget better for that trip. I think I had a completely different idea of how the trip was going to go and how much was going to be spent.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to shows and the shows were mid, and I know we're not going to probably do the shows again.
I'm telling you, each time we go to Vegas, it's a different trip.
Yeah.
Because one time, and it's always what I say. I always make the trip just random. Mm-hmm. So the last time I went where you weren't there, we did fine dining. So we spent a boatload of money on food, and it was all mid. And so this time I was like, okay, we're not going to do that. We're just going to eat whatever we want, which I think went well.
Went much better.
The food was good. Everything that we had for the most part. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay, well, let's go to some shows. Angelica was also thinking of some shows to go to. And so I'm like, let's go all in on the shows.
Yeah.
I asked you. And you were like, I'm down. Well, and I was like, oh, I thought Syndi was going to say something because of our budget. But you were just like, it is what it is.
My whole thought process was this, is that I'm coming into it, right? Yeah. And you had told me that you guys had done this whole fine dining thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be a situation where I said no. And then it's just like, oh, well, then what are we going to do? Or, okay, Syndi, then you can stay home. You know what I mean? Because that's more likely what would have happened. It's just if you guys would have.
It depends. I don't think that would have happened, though.
We don't know.
I think we probably would have forced you to go to a couple shows at least.
Well, I would have gone to a couple of shows, right? But
we could have.
Yeah. At the same time, I just wanted to. Because one of the things I want to do is I want to be fully immersed in the opportunities of not being in grad school, right? And not being in school. And in doing that, it's like going full. I feel like it's full sending it into activities with your friends. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't want to miss out on any more opportunities. So, yes, I probably shouldn't have said yes to as many shows, but I'm glad that I did.
Yeah. And I feel like each time we do it, especially because Vegas is a place that you can go back to and back to and back to because we live so close to it. Mm-hmm. And it's, I don't remember what it's called. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
So like there's a wide range of things to do there. Mm-hmm. And so I like the aspect of like going there and trying something. Yeah. And then, okay, next time let's not do that. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just keep tweaking your trip until it's right. Or you just keep trying new stuff because there's so much stuff out there. And so I think next time, the vibe might be learning how to gamble.
Yes.
And then other than that, I don't know. We're going to have to figure.
Go with the flow.
It's going to be a go with the flow. Yeah. I think we might go to clubs though.
Like
that might be the vibe.
Clubs?
I don't like clubs, but I think we should go to some clubs next time.
Okay. I actually have someone that I can talk to figure that out for us.
Oh.
Because she loves Vegas.
Yeah, she needs to let us know.
Yeah.
And what the dress code is. Because
you know what? I'm going to talk to her. 2025 March. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Vegas is gonna be lit.
It's gonna be lit. We gonna be dropping it low.
I'm gonna stay up, but you can go low.
We dropping it low. You better get your bang knees ready.
Anyways, but yeah, so that was a great trip, and even though a lot of money was spent on my part that I wasn't expecting to spend, the first thing I said was, I can't wait for next year. I'm gonna budget better. Yep. And again, that was another great trip that we did together. Mm-hmm. The most recent trip that we did together was we went to Napa. We went to Napa. We did some wine tastings.
Yes.
And
that wine tasting was so much fun.
It was.
And then it was really nice that I think the wine tasting in total was like $250 or something.
Yes.
For all of us, I think. Mm-hmm. And then the guy was telling us like, oh, if you buy like wine up to $250, then the tasting's free.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I can get some basically, I already paid for the tasting, so this is free wine, essentially. Mm-hmm. So
it felt good.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then him talking about the history was very fancy and elegant.
And then on top of that, we kind of embodied the country club-esque.
Country club. We're rich.
Yeah.
Fancy.
We pretended. And we went and played tennis on the tennis courts. And we did a pretty good job.
I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
We might be tennis superstars
It's one of the things where I do want to add it as one of my hobbies. Like, I want more active hobbies. And tennis was a lot of fun.
We got to figure out how to go this week.
We do.
We'll look into that.
We'll look into it.
I'm telling you, all we need is like 1-2 lessons and we'll be able to play.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
We were practically there.
We were practically there.
And like we weren't, at least for me, I wasn't in the proper clothes. I didn't have the proper shoes.
Yep. We know nothing about the game.
We knew nothing about the game. We were just trying to do our best. But I think because we both have sport experience, we had that hand-eye coordination. It's just like tuning it just a little bit.
And then I later on, because this is becoming our hobby, we're going to play tennis.
Yes.
I was watching videos and stuff, and Venus Williams, shout out to her.
Yes.
She was teaching me how to serve and do like a backhand and the forehand or whatever it's called. There's a lot of technique.
Oh, of course.
So the fact that we were even hanging, I think that speaks volumes.
So we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But from that Napa trip, I think another thing that I like about us traveling together is we're both so open to trying new things, and we find new things that we like, whether it's food, whether it's drinks, whether it's like activities. That's what I've been able to gain from our trips together so far, and that's what's been making it so much fun.
Yes. And on top of that, we also stick to a tried and true. We have it all, because when we were in Napa, we were hitting that in and out.
We gotta stay close to your roots.
Stay close to the roots.
It don't matter how country club we get, we still gonna eat that in and out.
Absolutely. And like we were doing stuff that we normally do, just hanging out, like watching the OC, playing games and all that crap, and then getting in and out.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. That's when in and out tastes the best.
It truthfully does, because it's because they're almost out of the stuff, so they have to remake it fresh.
Yep. Oh, so good.
I could go for in and out right now.
Stop. Hey, Napa's only an hour away.
Stop.
Anyways, so so Napa, we had a very good time. We were with my mom and my aunt, and they were both like, I don't know what they're doing.
Literally, we were on one. Like I don't even know what we were on, but we were on
on one. Yeah. So that was a wonderful trip. I think we should definitely go back again.
100%. Yeah.
Even my mom was saying like, oh, we have to go back again.
Oh, nice.
So that should be fun.
But yeah, we have a lot of different experiences of us traveling together within the United States, just honestly within the general vicinity. We haven't even gone anywhere that's more than like, I think, a 3 to 4 hour flight from where we are.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Because we could talk about domestic travel real quick.
Okay.
Because I've been to New York before.
Okay. I have been as well.
That's a 5-hour flight, 6-hour flight?
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking about us together.
Oh, us together?
Us together.
No.
Yeah. We haven't been on anything longer than like 4 hours.
Yeah.
But what I thought you were going to say is we've done the domestic stint a couple of times. But what do we have coming up, Chanel?
We have international travel.
We sure do.
Canada.
We sure do.
Look out.
So we're about to take our first international trip together.
Yes.
And it's also going to be a trip together that's longer. Well, I can't even say longer because we already did the 2-week stint.
Yeah, we did the 2 week. That was pretty long.
But it's going to be a long stint. It's going to be about like 10 days.
I think
we're going to be out. And we're going to do Canada. And we're going to also do New York.
Yes. And specifically Montreal.
Yes.
In Canada.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. That sounds pretty good.
I'm French.
Anyways. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. The only thing that does suck is I haven't done my research yet on
I
the
haven't
trip
either.
to Montreal.
I feel like all of us have not done our research at all.
And
it's something about the vibes. I don't know.
It's something about the vibes. I don't know what I also don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Canada or I don't know if it's the timing or what. Because I also haven't really looked much into New York either.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have the time. It's not until later on in the year. So I feel like closer to it, we'll probably, because we're also both go with the flow type people. I think that's also the other thing. We both know that eventually we'll find 1 to 2 things to do. Like I have a friend in Montreal that we're going to go see, or we have a friend in Montreal that we're going to go and see and hang out with. So that's one thing. And he's probably going to take us around. And then New York, we're always going to go to Broadway. So I feel like we kind of reached the extent of how we like to plan trips based off what we already talked about. Yeah. But it feels as though we need more. I think that's the thing. Like, I feel like I need to have a restaurant. I need to have an activity.
Yeah. I want a list of, especially New York.
Yeah.
List of restaurants. Montreal, I definitely want to do like cafes, and they probably have some like French dining type things that we could try out. So there's definitely things like that. I'm also a museum girl. I like going to museums.
I'm not that much of a museum girl.
The only thing we disagree on.
Well, so here's the thing. I am not a museum person from the perspective of like, I can't just stop and stare at art, but I make it into a game.
Okay.
So like whenever I go into a museum, my favorite thing to do is you have a room, you kind of like case the room, and then whoever's playing, what you have to do is you go and like, I try to guess what type of picture or piece of art is your favorite. Right. And then I take you to it and try to sell it to you. You know, so I'll just be like, you know, like the stuff that's on the wall. I'll be like, okay, of these 4, Chanel's gonna like this one. And I'll be like, Chanel, you see here this lovely piece of art. It's like a flower that is just in bloom. The blossoms are freshly pink. And I really feel like that pink speaks to your soul, like something like that, right? That's what I like to do. So I like to create a whole narrative, and that's what helps pass the time. Because I don't know, for me, I'll be looking at some art pieces, and it's like a white piece of paper with a splash of paint. That's true. And I'm just like, I don't see the appeal, but then I find fun in it if I try to think of like, where was the artist's mindset? And maybe based off this artist's mindset, Chanel sees that, and that's why Chanel wants it.
That's a cute little game. Yeah. I know for me, when I go to museums, like recently, this past Sunday, I went to a museum. I went to the Orange County Museum of Art. Free admission.
Okay,
love
nice.
Free admission.
We love a free admission.
And so I just went there and walked around after ballet practice because I was like, I want to walk, but it's hot outside.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a museum.
Yeah.
So I was looking at all the pieces, and I like looking at them and then reading the descriptions that they have on the wall, which is tedious. It takes time.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I'm like, okay. And then I read the thing and I'm like, okay, that's what they were going for. And then I look at it again. And so some of them I'm like, what's the point of that? And then other ones I'm like, this is a really cool piece. I'm trying to think from my current trip.
Yeah.
One thing that was cool, they had a whole section of the ground covered it in sand. And then there was a bunch of toys from the US and Japan, I think. And maybe another country. And they built basically like 2 cities and then an entire war happening around the 2 cities.
Oh, wow.
Full display, huge. Bunch of toys. It had to be at least 1,000 toys.
Oh, wow.
If I'm not miscounting. And so I was reading the description and they're like, they were trying to use the toys as like symbolism for like the US imperialist system and, you know, how they kind of like take over everything and kind of idea. And so I'm like, something like that, it kind of like expands your brain, makes you think in a different way. And I'm a person who's pretty creative. So I like to think about those types of things, and it's very cool. Every once in a while, you'll see something that's like, wow, that's cool. There was another piece. Someone beaded an entire art piece. Beading. The entire thing was beading. Crazy. Yeah. Bunch of little beads. So every once in a while, you find something cool. But I agree with you. Like, sometimes museums can be boring. And I feel like 10% of the pieces, you're like, wow. Yeah. Then the other, you're like, I guess.
And that's my issue, because especially if I'm in a museum by myself, I can't be in it longer than an hour. It doesn't even matter the museum. It's an hour tops, and then I gotta go. I need something different. I need a breath of fresh air.
I feel that.
But now I know I'll mentally prepare for museums or a museum.
Yeah. Museum. I can get down. New York, we're going to the Met, and then Montreal, we'll go to one museum.
I'm down for it.
Yep.
So that will be Montreal will be our first international trip together, but this won't be your first time traveling internationally, right?
Nope.
So where else have you been?
So the only places that I've been outside of the U.S. are Mexico.
Yeah.
When I was a baby. And then Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Those are my My 2 places.
Okay. And then which one would you say? I guess we could talk Jamaica because you said Mexico was when you were little.
Yeah.
Right. So how was your trip to Jamaica?
Jamaica. It was great.
It was great.
It was great. I will say when actually, so we went to an all-inclusive resort.
Oh,
right?
That's nice. Yeah.
And so drinks, the little, what do you call them? Like pina coladas and all, all the little frozen mixed drinks. That's what I was drinking the entire time. People walk around with bottles.
Oh, they would just be filling it up.
They be filling it up. They be throwing shots in your mouth.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh,
but I was vibing. And so, so I was spending all my time at the pool, at the beach. And so I got so much sun. It was ridiculous. And like after the first day, I was like 5 shades darker. And that was maintained throughout the entire trip.
And were you wearing sunscreen?
I was wearing sunscreen. You always got to protect.
And you were still 5 shades darker.
Absolutely.
That's
first
insane.
day. That sun hits different. It hits different. And it was crazy because like by the end of the trip, like my skin hurt. I don't know if I got sunburn. I probably did.
Yeah.
But like my skin just hurt. And then I had to wear like swim shirts and I was in the shade.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I got back,
yeah,
I was like, what is this energy I have? I could frolic through the grass. Like I had so much energy because like we got the proper amount of sun. Yeah. It was the right amount. Like that sun hits different. Yeah. And so, that was a good part of my trip. Good and bad because I was suffering there. But after I left, I was like, ooh, maybe I do need sunlight.
Yeah.
Do I get it? No. But I take my vitamin D and that's all that matters. But also during that trip, the mosquitoes.
They probably were eating you alive.
They were eating me alive.
Yeah. Like
I'm not a person that is allergic very easily. I had welts.
Ooh.
Like the size of like a sand dollar.
Yeah.
Welts from these mosquitoes. I was buying the super expensive bug spray because the gift shop and was spraying myself everywhere. They kept biting me. Dang. It was crazy. I had to take Benadryl and everything because I was having like an allergic reaction because I was itching.
Oh gosh.
I'm telling you, welts, huge welts on my body. So that was crazy. Another thing is the food there. I got that traveler's diarrhea. Our whole family got that traveler's diarrhea. We were sitting on that toilet, girl.
Oh no.
We were sitting on the toilet. It was crazy.
Oh no.
But then the last thing that I want to mention for that trip, good time. We had one day where we did what's it called? Exhibitions.
Oh.
So we left excursions. There we go. Excursions. So we left the resort. It was a whole day. We started off with horseback riding.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did not like it.
Oh, why not?
It's something about like, I feel like my brain and body shut down. I was not having it at all. Yeah. I don't like being on a horse. Okay. Just something about like this ginormous animal underneath you.
I can see that.
And you're just riding this ginormous animal that could just do whatever the hell it wants. Yeah. I was not vibing. So we did like a whole horseback trail and I could not get off this thing. So I'm going. And then they had a part 2 where they take the horses into the water.
Oh, so I think I've seen this before. Yeah.
Crazy. You're on the horses in the water. I said, hell no. I'm not doing that. Yeah. And so my whole family went and they were on the horses having fun. They actually came back and they were like, be glad you didn't do that. That was rough. Like, because riding a horse is intensive and the horses really have to work in the water. So yeah, they were like, the horses were pooping and it was really rough. And so I was like, thank God I didn't go. After that, we did ATVs. Broom, broom. Crazy. Yeah. I didn't like that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is funny because when I was younger, I used to ride dirt bikes, but a dirt bike and an ATV, two different things. Two different things. And then the last thing that we did that day, we went to a place, I think it was called Dun Rivers Falls or something like that. We climbed a waterfall. I had no idea what we were doing for that entire day.
We're going to go on our excursion. It's going to be fun.
We climbed a waterfall.
That sounds so dangerous.
Homeboy was like, if you see rocks with like brown on it, do not step on those rocks. You will slip. And if you slip, you will die. He had to save this one little girl because she was playing in an area that she wasn't supposed to be in because it was slippery. And he just picked her up and was like, go over here. But I'm telling you, a waterfall. No. We were climbing this entire waterfall.
The way in which someone would have to take me up, not through the waterfall.
I looked at my friend because I brought a friend on this trip too. We were vibing. I looked at her. She looked at me, and we said, we're going to do this. And we did it. You had to hold hands with the partners to make sure that you wouldn't fall. Like, it was insane.
You're telling me that if I'm about to fall, I'm going to trust someone's upper body strength to carry my weight.
Yep.
No.
Crazy.
I'm glad you made it.
I'm glad I made it too, because
that's insane.
The way I had no idea how long it was going to be or anything.
Yeah.
It was actually insane.
And it was all day.
It was all day.
Yeah, no.
And we got back like...
Yeah, no.
We took a whole nap. And they didn't even see us the next day.
Yeah, of course not. After doing all of that, you're not seeing me again.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm going home. Yeah. Thank you so much for this great trip.
Thank you. It was fun. Yeah. So that was a fun trip. I would probably go back to Jamaica, but it'll probably be like a while from now.
Of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about you, Syndi? Where have you been internationally?
So same as you, I haven't been too much. I will say that I went to South Korea when I graduated after my senior year of college. And then I went on like this cruise. This was a spring break of high school. I was part of this program called International Baccalaureate, which is teaching at an international standard. So our coursework and like the grades that we would get on the testing for the International Baccalaureate would be recognized like around the world. And because of the fact that it was like such a global, global set of courses, they gave the students a part of the program an opportunity to travel abroad. So we got to choose, and our group decided that we wanted to go to Athens, Greece, but not only Athens, Greece with a cruise excursion attached to it.
Wow.
So we started in Athens. We spent, I think, 2 to 3 days in Athens before we got on a cruise ship. And then from Athens, we went to Kusadasi, which is, I feel like I might be butchering it, but Kusadasi, which is in Turkey. Then we went to Santorini, which is where the blue tops are, those stereotypical blue tops. And then we went to Crete before I went back to Greece. And I mean, like, through that, I was in like Heathrow Airport, but like I didn't get to go through the UK. But I would say my two main abroad countries were that Greece excursion and then Korea. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I have some good stories from both of them. It's actually so funny because you're about to travel with me internationally. Yeah. And I feel as though me internationally, like me just generally domestically is a mess because the way in which you're like, Syndi, don't look.
Please.
And I'll look.
And I'm like, Syndi, that's full on gang activity.
Oh, where?
Hey, y'all need a ride.
I would never do that. I would just look at them and they would look at me and then get my plates and follow me home.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think one of the craziest stories that I have would be from this like Greece excursion. And it was, you know, like when you're on a cruise ship, they always dock in different places and they give you like 24 hours to be immersed in an area before you have to be back on the ship. There was one day in which I can't even remember what city we were at, but we docked and we were by a beach. So we had a beach day. So it was me, the other people from my high school who went, and then because we were a part of like a big tour group, there was like 2 other groups of like kids who came with us. And the thing was, it was like there was a group from Canada that I got close to, and because I got close to them, they came with us. So we were at the beach, just enjoying the beach, and in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, there was like a huge diving board. Huge. Like, I can't remember how tall it was, but it had to be at least 20 feet tall. Because I'm using like myself as a frame of reference, and I was like, I think it had to be at least 4 Syndis tall, if not more. Right? So it was at least 20 feet in the air. And we saw this and we're like, this is kind of cool. Like, who sees a diving board in the middle of like a huge body of water?
Yeah.
That's not a swimming pool. So we all like banded together, all of us, and we like swam from the like shore to this diving board, and it was just a group of us. It was like on a cement block of some sort. So it was a cement block, a huge ladder, and then a diving board. So we're all there, and we didn't really like fully grasp the gravity of how tall it was until we were standing next to it. So we all kind of started to chicken out. We're like, who's gonna go first? Who's gonna go first? Who's gonna go first? And I was just like, me.
Oh, main character.
I'm gonna go first. Yeah, main character. It's my life, and everybody's just living like their part in it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, let me go. Let me be the first one. And I was like, somebody was saying like, you can yell whatever you want. And I came from like a very strict household. So I was like, I'm going to say a curse word. So I'm up there. I'm like losing my nerve. But again, there's no way I can come back down because people are coming up behind me. Like we're getting in line. So the only way off of this is if I jump. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like building up my nerve. I run, I say my curse word, and I jump. And I kind of land weird because I had a huge pain in my stomach. I think I kind of belly flopped. Oh. And so belly flop, and then I'm like sinking a little bit. And because you're so high up, it's just like, I'm sure it's like physics where it's just like a certain weight going against gravity or going with gravity, falling down and then into a body of water that has its own buoyancy or whatever. It just was so much pressure that when I came up, my nose started to bleed profusely. So I come back up. I'm winded because I belly flopped. My nose is bleeding and I'm like swimming. And I get to like the concrete. I'm like, I'm asthmatic, right? At this point, I didn't know I wasn't diagnosed as asthmatic. I was just not able to breathe. Right. And people are like, Syndi, your nose is bleeding. And all I have is like my arm in salt water. So I'm like wiping my face with salt water. And they're like, don't do that. But the bleeding stops. And then the people behind me are now jumping off and they're enjoying it. So now we're getting back in line, do it again. And so since I was the first one, someone was like, hey, Syndi, I know you're resting, but do you want your spot? And I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And, you know, it was one of those moments where I was like, I'm no longer having fun. Yeah. I'm no longer having fun. And because I'm no longer having fun, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home. Yeah, I wanted to go back home. So I looked to the rest of the group and I was like, hey, I'm going to swim back to shore. And people were just like, are you sure? And I was like, I just don't want to be here. But nobody wanted to leave. So nobody was going to come back with me. And I was like, it's not that far. But you know, whenever you like go on, like, let's just say you're going on a hike, there's always one distance that feels longer than the other. And I thought the swim to the like diving board would feel that way, like it was long, but it was the swim coming back. Oof. Because I no longer have the adrenaline and excitement that I had to get there. I'm winded, I can barely breathe, and I'm just all around exhausted. Mm-hmm. So I'm swimming to shore. I'm swimming, and like I take breaks to tread water, but the current is so like strong that it's pushing me back. And I'm getting farther in. So I'm like, I got to swim some more. And I'm just so tired. Like, I don't want to be fighting the water anymore. I just want to be back at shore. And so I get to a point where like, I can clearly see the shore. It's no longer far away from me. So since I can clearly see the shore, I'm like, okay, I should be able to walk. Because you know how like the sandbanks, they kind of like dip down before they go farther and farther into the depths of the ocean. So I'm like trying to start walking, but my feet aren't touching any ground. Mm-hmm. And since I'm no longer swimming and I'm no longer treading water, I'm sinking at this point. I'm sinking. And so I'm going down, and I'm looking up and I'm like, that's the surface. And I'm getting farther and farther away from the surface. And you want to know what was bad? What? I had no energy to bring myself back up. Syndi. It's true. Like, I was so tired. But in that moment, I was just like, if I don't come up now, no one's going to ever find me. Yeah. If I fall, like, I could be the girl that got lost in the Mediterranean Sea. They're never going to find me if I make it to the bottom of the ocean. They're never going to find me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can't do that. And another part of me was just like, how are they going to tell my parents that they lost me in the Mediterranean Sea? Mm-hmm. Like, I can't even fathom what my parents would have done or would have thought. And I was just like, it's so funny. I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Yep. I wouldn't have been there, but I was like, I can't deal with this. So I like pushed myself through. Like, I picked up as much energy as I could, pushed myself back to the top, and I'm like fighting for my life to make it to the shore. I can finally feel the sand at my feet so I can stop swimming. And I'm now dragging myself, knees to the sand, arms kind of like barrel crawling or whatever, through it to get to shore. And I'm finally I made it to shore. I'm like heaving, like huffing and puffing, right? The woman who's supposed to be the chaperone, who was sunbathing, looks up as I stand up and goes, "Oh my God, your body looks so good in that bathing suit." And in that moment, I'm just like, it's so crazy that this is the first thing that someone is saying to me after I almost died.
You almost died. And girl, you were working that bathing suit.
Literally. And it was in that moment that all I could do was I just sat down next to her because I couldn't say anything. I was just like, "Thank you." And then when I sat down, I think I was able to see how far away the diving board was from the shore.
Yeah.
Because it was to the point that like I couldn't even distinguish who was jumping off the diving board. The best I could do was looking at the color of people's bathing suits. And that was the best that I could do.
That's a mess.
And that's how I know like how far away I was. But it was after I almost died that I got to that point. So all this to say is there's a possibility that I could have a near-death experience when we're in Montreal.
I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, good. That's all I'm really asking for.
Yes.
But I will say this was like that happened pre like 25, Syndi. I think I was barely even 21.
The brain wasn't developed.
Oh, not even 21. This was high school.
Yeah, you said high school, so 17.
I was 17.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense. But it shouldn't happen.
Children and water. They don't mix.
And I'm like, I haven't even really been in a pool that much. Like I can still swim, I can still tread water, but I don't really go into a pool like that. So it's best to avoid it. But that I would say is a crazy travel story that I would have. But I feel like it goes up there as one of a like noteworthy experiences.
Yeah.
As far as like my travel and trips, you know, I would have to say I can't even say that one is like my favorite trip. I think that just has a more like gut punching story.
Yeah.
My like international trip to Korea I think was better, and I think it's because I had more of an opportunity to immerse myself. It wasn't like I was a part of a tour, which is where the itinerary comes in. It was the fact that I was like able to set my own schedule, pick things to do, and have kind of more so to the travel thing that we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason why I like Korea, and I would hope that us going to Montreal kind of mimics that of Korea, where it's just like we can go with the flow, have a good time, and make good memories.
Yeah.
Do you have a trip that you would say is like your favorite or your best trip?
Favorite trip. I feel like it might be a domestic one. I think probably Seattle, to be honest.
Oh,
because it was such an easy trip. I went with one of my friends and we just vibed the entire time.
Yeah.
And we had like, it wasn't even that everything was amazing. Like we had some really freaking good food. We had some bad food. You know, we went to a restaurant we always go to back home and the whole nine.
Yeah.
We were walking around like the University of Washington and stuff. And it was just a very chill and relaxed trip.
Yeah.
And it was only for like, I think 4 days or so. And just every day we were chilling. Like it was just, you know, when you just vibe, and it was kind of like hanging out with a friend, just like in a new location.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Which is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's so funny that you say that because I've only been to Seattle like maybe twice, and I haven't had positive experiences both times.
Yeah.
So maybe round 3 for me, round 2 for you.
Maybe. I'd definitely be willing to go back.
Because I would like to see because I've heard such great things about Seattle. I just think I hit the wrong things, or I was with the wrong people, but
maybe because I feel like Seattle, I think it would be a great place to live.
Oh,
it's very chill. And like I remember, because you know every city's different.
Yeah.
Right. Like for example, you've been to New York, I've been to New York. People are crazy in New York. Yeah. But there's so much stuff to do. It's so much fun. But Seattle, it's chill. It's laid back. They have like good bakeries there, like good little shops to go to and eat.
Yeah.
The people on the street, everybody, quiet.
Really?
Like, you know how there'll be like homeless people on the street or like, you know, just people. There's always someone talking. Not in that city.
Interesting.
Everything's quiet. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's minding their own business. I don't know what it is about that city, but it's like that.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of public transportation there. They have like a lot of trolleys or trams or whatever they're called. And so it just seems like a good overall vibe. Again, I think this was back in 2019, I think, when I went, or 2018.
So pre-COVID.
So pre-COVID, so I don't know how it is now, because I feel like COVID changed a lot of cities. But yeah, I would totally be down to go again. But it's a weekend trip.
Okay, that's fair.
Weekend only.
I mean, after the experiences that I had, I would not want to go for longer. So I'll be down for a weekend trip.
Period.
Let's add it to the docket.
Add it to the docket.
But yeah, I mean, I feel as though we have a lot more travel to come, right? Not even just with Montreal. I know like we have trips planned for a couple of years. We want to go to Ireland. We want to go to Japan. So I'm really excited to kind of start building on this like I guess our travel resume of places to go, and then getting to a point where it's just like, yeah, like we've been to Ireland a couple of times, so this is where we're going to go this time. You know, I can't wait till we reach that point where we've seen everything that we want to see, that we go to the places that we've been to again, and then just kind of make like, I guess, homes away from homes in different areas in the world. Yeah. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So to more trips.
Yes. Well, is there anything else, Syndi?
I've said my piece, Chanel.
I feel like I said my piece too.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, and this I'm kind of excited that we're doing this whole video thing. It's kind of nice being able to see you.
It is.
And do this.
And you know, now we won't have to edit out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you do the because you can't see each other, and now I'm just like,
you're nodding in agreement, and I don't feel the need to be like, what did you say? Can you give me more information? Yeah. But yeah. Alrighty, Chanel. Yeah. Episode 1 in the books.
Period. On to the next one.
Yep. Bye.
Is someone knocking on my door? Hello? Open the door. Open the door. I'm filming a podcast right now. Goodbye. Bye. You want to say hi to the podcast?
No, thank you.
Okay, bye.